Alright.
Hi, my name is Jeffrey Rubin, and I run Redwood Funding Group. Redwood Funding Group advances money to people who are involved in a lawsuit, who are accident victims, whether it was a car accident, a slip and fall accident, a construction site accident. As long as you were in an accident and you have a lawyer, whether it's before you're in a lawsuit, when you're in a lawsuit, or after you have a settlement, Redwood Funding is prepared to advance you money. Now, before you call Redwood Funding Group, you should be educated about what funding means. This is not a bank. You don't borrow money. You don't have to pay it back. The only time you pay back money when you're advanced money from Redwood Funding Group is if you get a settlement or you win your lawsuit. If you lose, you do not have to pay anything back. That is why it's called an advance and not a borrow, like when you go to a bank. Now, before you come to Redwood Funding Group, I want you to be educated about what some of my competitors do. So before you call me, you might want to call them and compare. Here's the first thing. My competitors often advertise that their interest rate is 1 or 2 or 3%. Now that sounds great, but you need to read the fine print. You need to ask the important questions. Because when they say it's 1 or 2 or 3%, they're talking about a month, and they're talking about compounded interest. Do you know what about 2.5% monthly compounded interest comes to after 1 year? It comes to about 45%. That means the interest is compounded on the interest growing every month. So that after about 2 years, when you use my competitors advertising 2.5% interest, you're paying back double what you borrowed in about 2 years. At Redwood Funding Group, our interest rates are fixed. They don't compound. That means you pay the same amount back in interest every 6 months, and it doesn't grow on the interest. Our interest rate is 12.5% every 6 months. So if you borrow $1,000, that means every 6 months in interest, you're paying back $125. In a year, that's $250. That's 25% interest a year. It'll take 4 years to pay back double what you borrow than at Redwood Funding Group than against my competitors. So make sure you know what their yearly interest ends up being and compare that to Redwood Funding's 12.5% for every 6 months. The second thing my competitors do is charge you a fee. They either charge you a fee in the front end or in the back end. And the problem, and what they do is, they add that fee to what you're borrowing. So let's say you're borrowing $1,000. They're going to add the fee to administrate your lending situation to what you're borrowing. So let's say the fee is $200 and you're borrowing $1,000. They're going to have you pay interest on $1,000 plus $200, $1,200. But you're only going to see $1,000. So you're paying interest on money you're never even getting. At Redwood Funding Group, we don't charge any fees at all. Not in the front, not in the back. The money that you're borrowing, the $1,000, is the money you're going to get, and that's it. So before you call Redwood Funding Group, ask the other companies to give you a repayment schedule going out 2, 3, 4 years, and compare that to the repayment schedule that I will give you, and you will see that Redwood Funding Group has the best rates, no fees, and we will get you your money overnight. Thank you very much. The number that you call for Redwood Funding Group is 212-349-2844. That's 212-349-2844. You will deal with me, Jeffrey Rubin. If I'm not here, you leave a message and I will call you back because I am the person who is handling your advance. Thank you very much.